Flavor Flav.
Yeah, boy!
Hey, yo, check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav in the building for the Better Agency. Nicholas wants everyone to know how they need to listen to the truth that Nick and Preston are giving them. Flavor Flav got y'all out right now. You heard me? So hold it down and keep making it a better agency. Alright?
Welcome to the Better Podcast. My name is Nicholas Ayers. He's Preston Schmidley. I can't ever say your name right, Preston. Whenever I try to say your name fast, I can never say it right. Say your name for the people at home.
Yeah, Preston Schmidley.
That's about how it sounds like when it comes out of my mush mouth face. Welcome to the Better Podcast, where we are going to interview agency owners, agents, people in the insurance space that move the needle forward, move the conversation, and are really bringing value to our industry in a number of different ways. And this episode of the Better Podcast is brought to you by Better Agency. If you're looking for ways to automate your agency through sales, service, communications, just overall make your communications with your clients better, then start a trial of Better Agency today by going to www.betteragency.io and starting a trial for $1. You know, Preston, I'm really excited for today's episode because we're interviewing somebody that I have developed a really good relationship with since, I've moved here to Arizona. He's just a really he's one of those guys when my wife asks me, she says, do you have any favorites, when it comes to insurance agents? I say, yes, naturally I do. They're just those people that, you just click with, they just vibe with. You feel like you can talk to them and that you get along with them outside of work just as well as you do inside the business. And one of those people is today's guest, Michael Overstreet. And Michael's a really intriguing guy. Not only is he's just very cerebral, he's got a really interesting way of going about something. But, one of the things that we talked about, and I think it's really fascinating, is the power of association and being able to surround yourself and really kind of almost grow through osmosis. And that's something that Michael talks a lot about. And he's got a really, really interesting story when he talk about, what he's doing with the Garden Nerd and his agency and just the fact that he stops work every day, I think like at 2:00. I think it's pretty awesome. Darn fascinating. But he talks about association. And I know for you, Preston, that's been something that I think you can also speak to because, being able to surround yourself with people who are helping you to elevate your game is so important. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean that was one of the biggest things that I would say changed my life. That there's that whole euphemism of you are the average of the 5 people you're closest with, right? And it sounds cheesy, but I think that's I think that there's a lot of truth to that. I know, just for myself, it was when I started to associate with what I would consider power players in the insurance industry that I myself started to grow quite a bit. So I think that I think that Michael Overstreet and just being able to watch his journey and how much he's developed as, a marketer in his agency, as like a CEO type role, and his ability to delegate, just his overall expansive growth that he's had is, obviously there's fortitude, there's willpower. He's resilient as all hell. He's a genuinely good dude. So all those things are in his corner, but he is from one of the things, from everything I've seen, he's very, he's just bloodthirsty to be around people that, that's kind of one of the beautiful things about everybody we associate with is everybody feels like they're not the smartest person in the room and they seek the rooms where they're not. And I think there's a lot of power in that. And that's why you see a lot of upward momentum and people like Michael. I mean, it's an amazing, I think it's an underspoken trait to successful people is that a desire for association with people that can teach you things and help you grow and achieve your goals. I think Michael's done an excellent job at that.
Well, what I think is fascinating too about this is that it's amazing the mindset that when you have this mindset that says, I want to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I want to improve. I want to surround myself around, I want to get around winners. I want to get around people that are going to help me take my game to another level. And whatever the case might be, it doesn't have to always be insurance, but it could be business in general. It could be with a family. It could be just in how you live your everyday life in outside of the business. It's amazing what happens when that's the mindset that you have, that you just want to get better, that you find ways to get better. And when I look at Michael, you know, and I've known him now for about a year and a half, pretty well, I think. And he even came over to my house a couple weeks ago, and he planted a mango tree in my backyard. And if that guy
Lucky.
can get a mango tree to grow in the desert of Arizona, you know he's doing something right. But he, when you look at the progression of his life and just the visible results, it's like when someone goes to the gym, they say, I want to lose 20 pounds. Well, you know, the best way to lose 20 pounds is by probably putting in the work to lose 20 pounds. You can't go to the gym once. You
Right.
can't do one set of crunches. It's got to be a consistent behavior. And whatever we put, you know, whatever we put a priority on, it usually requires some form of daily maintenance, whether it's brushing our teeth, whether it is our education, whether it is just how we run our business. I think Michael's a really, really, really good example. So I'm really fascinated to hear what he has to say on this episode of the Better Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode with Michael Overstreet. All right, we're here with Michael Overstreet here in Mesa, Arizona from Safe Street Insurance. Michael is somebody that if you're not following online, he is the and I'm gonna get on him. So I've never told him this in the past, but the fact that his name for his insurance agency isn't Oasis or anything like that, I think is an abomination. This dude grows pineapples, mangoes, papayas, everything under the sun here in the desert in Arizona. And he's got the greenest of green thumbs. And so if you are not following him on YouTube, then you definitely need to do that. I'm sure he'll plug that here in a moment. But Michael, question for you here, as we've been talking previously offline. You know, tell us about a time in your life, from your agency and your career as an insurance agent, where you knew you had to fix something. Take us through that journey of, you know, your former self and your new self, where you're at today.
Sure. So a few years back, once I ditched my partner, I don't want to say ditch, that seems harsh, but once I got rid of my partner and I was on my own, I was still a one-man show. I had no idea that there's this whole world out there of other independent agents that helped each other. I thought I was doing pretty good, to be honest. I thought I was running a good business. Then I was exposed to IAOA and a few other groups, and I realized, oh my goodness, there are tons of awesome insurance agents out there, and I am slacking. I'm just this one agency. I'm a one-man show. I am not anywhere near my potential in terms of my insurance agency. And I realized a lot of that, honestly, was because I was complacent. I was lazy. I was doing just enough to run a decent agency and make a decent living, but I wasn't doing nearly as much. So over these past 4 years, I've been hitting it hard. I've been trying to be consistent. I've been trying to grow. I've been trying to get out of my comfort zone. And since then, I've hired 2 people, and I'm no longer a one-man show. I have a full-time CSR and I have a full-time salesperson. And so I've kind of been able to relieve the day-to-day stress of being in the agency and running the agency. And now here I am working on my business and on my agency instead of in my agency.
That's awesome. I mean, so was it just joining Facebook groups and seeing your peers that said, I've got to kick this into gear? I mean, was there something more to that? When did you decide this isn't enough? Like I am not doing what I'm supposed to. Was it just observation, or what was that specific moment that you said, I've got to figure this out?
Yeah, so to be honest, a huge part of it was just having other peers in the insurance industry, seeing how other people live their life. And then also during that time, I kind of went through a whole religious, personal, emotional transformation as well, where in the past, I wasn't being honest with myself in anything in life. I was very good at justifying things, glossing over things, and just, like I said before, just getting by, just putting in enough effort to get by. But because of this transformation that I went through personally, I realized that I had to start being honest with myself. And that transformed me not only in all other aspects of my life, but my professional life as well, where I was able to sit down, look at myself in the mirror and say, dude, you're not being the best person that you can be. You're not running the best agency that you can run. And I had all these other peers that I was now associated with, where I could honestly say, okay, these guys are doing what's right. These guys I should be following. And from there, I was able to be honest with myself and start that growth.
I think one of the important things there that you were able to do, and that you really latched on to early in, I don't want to say early in your career, but early in your transformation, if you will, you were able to really be like there was a level of vulnerability and transparency with yourself. What I found in that is a lot of people in business, they tend to, when I'm talking with agents and doing consulting or whatever, they're out of integrity. They want a certain thing, but they do a different thing. And it's been cool to watch you, spend a lot of your time, you wanted to get to a point where you were doing things that are worth hundreds of dollars an hour, and you delegated, and, you found the people, and you developed the processes, to be able to, delegate the stuff that's not that, right? So that you could get to the things that were more high value oriented. And ultimately, live a life that you want to live. Like, that's the cool thing about your YouTube channel too, just to kind of bring it back to that, is you're able to have a hobby that you're super passionate about and help other people with, just because you've been super efficient and honestly within integrity in your life. You kind of identified what you wanted and you went after it, and that's awesome.
Yeah. And to be honest, as I was going through that reflection period, I sat down and I thought, do I really want to be a one-man show dealing with customer service every day, never being able to go on vacation and not be checking my emails, things to that nature? And so I realized, hey, I need to change the things in my life to where I can be living the kind of life that I actually want to be living, instead of just doing what I need to do to get by each day. And so that's why I wanted to step out of the role as customer service and sales, because I was tired of doing those things.
Sure.
That doesn't make me happy. And so at this point, I'm all about finding things that make me happy in life.
Well, I think you do. I think you've done that just by my observation. We talk about the power of association and being able to see other people, and I think that stuff is really powerful. And you have to be careful. We all have to be careful what we see and what we observe, and the filter that we take that stuff in. But talk about doing something you love, dude. I see you doing stuff with the Garden Nerd. I see you doing stuff that are really revolves around the stuff that you love to do, and that is, you seem to love gardening. You seem to love. You take a great amount of joy in that stuff, and so talk to us about the Garden Nerd. For the people that don't know what that is, talk to us about what that is, and maybe if you want to go into it, just a little bit of the strategy around what it is that you're trying to actually accomplish with the Garden Nerd.
Sure. So the Garden Nerd is my YouTube channel. Also have an Instagram page, but probably 6 years ago. So I've lived in Arizona my whole life. Arizona is hot, it's deserty, there's no shade. After 35 years of living here, I hated the summers, I hated the sun. I just wanted shade, and I wanted more of a tropical oasis. So I realized through a few other people that I saw online, I was like, dude, you can grow mangoes here, you can grow papaya, you can grow bananas, you can basically grow everything here, bamboo. So I started with one single mango tree, and I told my wife, oh, this is cool, I'm gonna have one mango tree. I'm not gonna buy any other trees. Fast forward 5 or 6 years, I have over 100 fruit trees on my property, and I don't have a large property.
Wait. For the folks at home, you have 100 different fruit trees.
That's insane.
And as we record this, I want to give people context. We all know that, stereotypically that Arizona's hot. It's like 115 degrees today.
Yeah.
And it's dusty, and it's hot, and it's 12 o'clock at night, and it's 100 degrees.
Yep.
You grow 100. I bet your neighbors love you, by the way, but you grow over 100 different fruit trees on your property.
Yep. Tons of fruit.
Let's talk about the efficiency of that, though, because, it's not like lots out here. I doubt you have like a multi-acre lot. It's like you're dealing with maybe half an acre or less, and half an acre is generous from what I've seen. So it's like, to be able to, you're like homestead efficient. Like, that's how to put 100 bushes on a property is crazy. Right? You put 100 trees on one. That's insane.
Right. And it was an addiction, to be honest. Like, once I started with one, I was like,
yeah.
I couldn't stop. And my wife at first, she was like, dude, you don't need any more trees. But then I would just like go and buy them without telling her, and they would just show up in the backyard.
You're like, baby, you tell me that one more time, and we're going to replace you with a tree.
Right. And so after a while, she was like, dude, I don't care what you do. Go buy another fruit tree. If it makes you happy, go buy a fruit tree.
What is there's a strategy around this, though, and this relates to your insurance agency. There's
Correct.
a reason why you're doing this. You're making these videos, you're visiting local nurseries and landscapers. There's a particular strategy involved here. And I think, if you're going to do anything, it's fun to do the stuff that you like to do. It's, insurance is I don't think anybody wakes up and says, yes, this is what I get to do today. I mean, we like what we do, and we find joy in that, but you really like what you do because you get to really focus around the stuff that you're passionate about. And so talk to us a little bit about the strategy of why you're doing these particular things.
Yeah, so as I've gone through my transformation, my agency is pretty much all personal lines. And I've heard these people talk about, hey, commercial is where it's at. That's where the big bucks are at, but not only commercial, but niches. And so I've heard these people that have talked about, hey, you had to find a niche, you had to find a niche. And I was sitting here thinking, dude, I don't have a niche. What niche can I go into? And then one day, honestly, it just dawned on me. I was like, well, of course I have a niche. I have this awesome yard full of all these awesome trees. That's my niche. And so from there, I realized, okay, I need to become the standard in this niche. I need to become the man. I need to, anytime someone thinks of this niche, I want them to think
that niche being landscapers and nurseries
and tree trimmers and all that type of stuff. And so I already had all these trees. I already had a small Instagram page, but I realized, okay, at this point, I need to really push that, and I need to start a YouTube channel. Thanks to you, Nick. I'll make a plug on your marketing program. It's awesome with video. It helped me get into it, and it's been running for 2 months now, and I have 600 subscribers, and I'm slowly becoming the expert in that niche. And I haven't even introduced the insurance part into it yet. That's coming soon, but I'm first building that brand.
Yeah,
I'm becoming the expert in that niche.
Yeah, and I've seen your videos. I mean, you're going out to landscapers, you're going out to nurseries, you're interviewing them, you're talking to them, you're putting them on your channel, you're plugging their businesses. I think it's a really solid strategy. If anybody, it doesn't have to be landscapers. I mean, if you are into automotive, if you're into anything, I think that it could be very valuable to find ways to get in front of people. That's what it's all about. It's finding a way just to get in front of somebody. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, and you do it in a way that provides value first and builds a great rapport, and you associate yourself on the back end when the camera's not rolling. These guys know you sell insurance.
Yep.
These guys know that you're I mean, and they're not dumb. They they probably know what's going on, but they don't care because you're providing so much value on the front end that they're like, yeah, put me on your channel with 600 subscribers and growing. And so it's been great. And I remember your first video. And I think you would probably say this, like, if you look at your first video to the videos you're doing today, and it hasn't been that long, it's been, talk about transformation. I mean,
for real.
The first videos were, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you were doing them, and that was great, but they were awful. Right.
I've honestly thought I should go back and redo those. That's how bad they were.
yeah, and that wasn't that long ago, so it didn't take you long, so that's great. So, we talked a little bit about it. This is, you realized that one day something had to change. You saw other people doing it, and then you started doing it. Tell us a little bit about where Michael is at today versus where Michael was at just a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah, so I've said this before, I am no longer, and I feel like this is the curse inside the insurance world, I'm no longer that insurance agent running around trying to find the golden ticket or the golden program that all I have to do is throw a couple $100 a month at, and it's going to fix everything. I feel like that was me. I just wanted this program. I was more than happy to throw $200 a month to make $2,000 a month. And even though that never happened and I kept throwing money at it, I was lazy. I was not motivated. I wasn't being honest with myself. So I kept doing that. Now at this point, I'm not looking for that golden nugget or for that golden ticket. Instead, my focus is on actually doing it. Like you mentioned in the videos, they started out and they sucked. But you know what? I was doing it. And I realize now at this point, all I have to do is do it. And eventually my skills will catch up, my talent will catch up, and eventually I'll get better and better. But you have to go and do it, and you have to do it with consistency. Otherwise, you're never going to get anything accomplished in your business or in your life in general.
One of the cool things about what you do is, with the Garden Nerd, and just it ties into an analogy that I use with my consulting clients all the time, is that, when you're building a sales pipeline, when you're building a business and you're trying to acquire new clients, it is actually no different than building a crop, right? Like you have to first have seeds, and, you have to make sure that you tend to the soil. You have to make sure that you water the seeds. You have to make sure that you provide adequate sunlight. And the interesting thing is, everybody's trying to find that one thing, that shiny object that's going to change it, make it fast, make it different. But it's like, there is no substitute for time. Right. And that's one of the cool things is you've tended to the soil, you've been watering the seeds, you've planted the seeds, and you've been making sure that they have what they need to be nurtured and grown. But you can't over sunlight or over water to compensate for less time, right? And if you try to cut the crop down prematurely, you're lucky if you get 10% of the harvest. And it's one of those things where time is probably, out of anything, the most valuable asset that you can give to a crop of sales.
Preston he's the garden nerd part 2. Look at
we're gonna do a video with Preston breaking this down for us on my YouTube channel.
Preston only grows one crop. Let's not kid ourselves.
But no, I like that analogy, Preston. Another analogy, since I'm the garden nerd, I'm gonna give you a garden analogy. A lot of people here in Arizona, I mentioned I grow all these tropical things. A lot of people come in and they're like, dude, this is awesome. And they go and they get this awesome tropical tree. They plant it in the middle of their yard where there's no shade, there's no water. It's surrounded by rock. And dude, that tree dies in 2 days.
Yeah.
Right. What you have to do is you have to slowly grow your microclimate around it. Right. And that takes time, right? You have to start with the more hardy bushes that take time to grow. And then once you've taken 4, 5, 6 years to grow all this microclimate around it, then you can come in with the money trees. Yeah,
no, that's true, man. That's true.
And that's why he's the garden nerd. Michael, where can people follow you, or where can people plug your YouTube channel? Let us know where people can see what it is that we're talking about.
Sure.
Where people can follow you at.
So on YouTube, it's called The Garden Nerd. You'll see a picture of me, my beautiful face with my hands like this, holding out fruit. That's me. Also on Instagram, _garden_nerd.
And wherever you're listening to this at, whether it's on YouTube, if you're watching the YouTube video, if you're listening to it on any sort of podcast distribution channel, we'll put a link down below. Check out his channel. Go back to his first videos. You think you stink on video?
Hey, be careful, Nick, because I was in your program doing what you taught me. So be careful.
I taught you how to just go for it, but. No, we like to give Michael a hard time, but go check it out and see the journey, and you'll be able to also probably get some ideas for wherever you're at, whether you're in Savannah, Georgia, whether you're in Tampa, Florida, whether you're in Bismarck, North Dakota. Bismarck's in North Dakota, right? I'm just shouting out city names at this point, so it doesn't matter where you're at. You could probably get a good idea. And Michael, thank you so much for being on the show. And we look forward to just seeing the journey that you guys, that you are progressing. It's awesome to see your progression, by the way, and to continue to see that. We're excited for you and can't wait to hear more success stories.
Thank you. I was going to say, let me say real quick, Preston, when I mentioned those peers that helped push me, you two, Nick and Preston, you guys are definitely those ones that have helped push me along. So thank you. I owe a lot to both of you.
Yeah, and for anybody watching this, whether you're checking on YouTube or just on just the audio version or wherever you're getting this, if you can drop a comment below, and on a scale of 1 to 10, we need to settle a debate. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you could tell us how much Michael Overstreet looks like Ryan Reynolds, that would actually be great. So leave a comment, 1 to 10, let us know, because apparently Michael's wife doesn't agree with me, but I think he looks like a duplicate of Ryan Reynolds.
And you're not the only one. I've heard that from many people, just not my wife.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time, Michael. We appreciate it, man.
Thanks, guys.